So, when in 2011, I took a small break from my career, passionate with art and everything, artistic. I was quite artistic as a child. My mother, tells me, complete my 10-year milestone in the cake industry.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Corina B. Manuel. I'm the editor in chief at the Punitel Mirror. You're watching me on Mirror, Punitel Mirror's very own podcast. This evening, I'm in company of royalty, literally, because this lady looks like a dream, cooks like a dream, or shall I say, bakes like a dream. And she's been very kind to come into our studios to this evening and talk to us. May I please present Prachi Dhabal Deb. Hi, Prachi.
Hi, Karina, for such a lovely introduction.
Well, I don't know what lovely, but I think it's all true. You know, guys, Prachi comes from a very interesting background. Now get this with me, okay? She's a financial analyst who's changed tracks and got into the field of baking. Sounds yum, right? So, Prachi, how did that happen?
So that happened around 14 years back. So I used to love baking as a child, and a lot of children love cakes. I was the same. So it used to be my favorite summertime activity with my mother. And I'm from Dehradun, so we were surrounded by beautiful trees of peaches and plums. So the compotes from those fruits and the cupcakes at the kitchen used to be my favorite activity. But then it was just a summertime hobby. And eventually, studies took over. We were focusing more on the academics. And so this was just something, a childhood fantasy, you can just say. So when in 2011, I took a small break from my career as a financial analyst. I took a small sabbatical. I wasn't keeping too well health-wise. And we also had an opportunity of traveling to Australia for my husband's project. So I thought I'll take a short break. And during that break, I embraced all the lost love of baking and painting and being surrounded by all things artistic. And, so it sort of just made me feel so passionate and so relaxed. And so it just gave me that inspiration that maybe this is my calling and maybe this is something that I should be doing.
Wow. From a number cruncher to a pecan nut cruncher. That's quite a journey. So, so tell me, Prachi, what inspires you to do what you do, to bake up a storm? Why do you bake up a storm?
I think as a child, I've been
Excuse me.
quite passionate with art and everything, artistic. I was quite artistic as a child, my mother, tells me. And whenever I'm surrounded with art, be it of any kind, be it a beautiful architecture, be it a beautiful piece of embroidery or textile, handloom, I just love, the finesse of it, the detailing of it, and the kind of efforts that went into making all of that. So it fascinates me. And edible art is something that I consider my medium. So all those inspiration coming to my head. So this was my medium, and I was using my medium to portray all of it into cakes.
Yes. This is literally talking about, love right from the tummy. I was just thinking, Prachi, that I've been one of the very few lucky ones who's actually seen some of your work, okay? At least pictures of your work. So I noticed that I see a lot of detailing that goes back to the Victorian age.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes, that's true.
So tell me a little about that.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you noticed that, because I always love to be surrounded by people who notices, the intricacy of art and the passion behind the artist. So rightly said, a lot of my art is inspired by Victorian, European architecture, Indian architecture, the textiles and the laces from, that era.
Yeah.
So I find it extremely, it's like homecoming. So it's like quite a warm feeling when I'm surrounded by these. So whenever I'm traveling, I'm always not actually looking for inspiration, whatever crosses, whenever I'm traveling, I see a lot of it, and that inspires me.
I can imagine. I can just imagine. In fact, I was admiring your lace when I walked when we said hi to each other.
Yeah.
And it's very It's beautiful.
Thank
And I
you.
think
Thank you
some
so
of it
much.
is also some of that also replicates on your cakes also.
Yeah, I think, so whenever, like I was telling you, I'm fascinated with handlooms and textiles and laces. So this can very well be seen on many of my cakes. So inspirations can come from anywhere.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was just also thinking, Prachi, that you've been a three times world. Let me get this right. You've been a three times world record holder for making vegan cakes.
Biggest vegan royal
Biggest
icing
vegan, yes,
structure.
yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
tell me a little about that. That sounds really fascinating.
So, like, I should be saying the right words for it, that it started to celebrate a milestone and not as a world record, honestly.
Okay.
So I was about to commence or complete my 10-year milestone in the cake industry.
Okay.
So, to celebrate that, I thought, why not create something majestic and grand, which was a replica of the Milan Cathedral? Because, like I said, I was inspired by European architecture, and a lot of inspiration comes from those places. And royal icing is traditionally considered to be a very fragile medium. So, when I
It
thought
is.
of making it into a 100 kg big structure, on paper, it seemed impossible. Like technically, it seemed impossible. But I took that challenge and I was like, no, I have to try. Let me just try. And this is also celebrating a milestone. So I have a studio, and the process of it, every single room, every inch of every single room was covered with the templates, the piped pieces all around. So then my friends and family, they saw that, and they said to me that, we have never seen you working on something so elaborate. Why don't you get it registered somewhere? Because this hard work deserves
Yes,
recognition,
absolutely.
visibility. So that's how, then I enrolled myself. I filled up the form, the team approached, and they did all the, verification and everything. So that's how the first world record happened. Not technically, it was supposed to be a world record, but it just happened by celebrating a milestone. And the second record was for making the maximum number of vegan royal icing structures, which were inspired from Indian and European architecture.
Wow.
And the third record, which
Which is one
happened.
you broke your own record with this one.
Yes, the third one. The third one is something that I broke my own record with. So in
Trust you to be
2023.
trust you to be an overachiever.
No, I just feel like there's so much inside of me in terms of an artistic passion. So I just want to keep on exploring. That childlike ability is something that I look forward to. Waking up every day and just thinking that what next.
What next? So wait, let's come back to your second record, your third record.
Yeah.
What was that about?
It was actually inspired from an Indian palaces rather. So some palaces from Rajasthan, some from Lucknow, Hyderabad. So glimpse and inspiration from everywhere from India into one magnificent 200 kg edible structure.
Wow.
And it broke my first record.
Wow.
Yeah.
The mind boggles, I'm gobsmacked right now just thinking about it. Because I can just imagine the hard work and the sleepless nights and the sheer, I'm sure, bending over trying to get the backache. I'm
Yeah.
sure you must have gone through crazy times at that point of time.
But I think when you're so passionate and you're so involved, nothing matters. It, of course, kicks in after
Yeah.
the project is done. You
Yes.
feel all the aches and pains
Correct.
and, the tears and everything. But
Correct.
I think in the moment, it's all about art, and it's all about just seeing your creation coming together in front of you.
I can
And
imagine.
Yeah, and
I
I
can
think
just
every
imagine.
artist, I think,
Yes.
will relate to this.
Absolutely. Completely. And I think that speaks so much about what gets translated on the canvas being the cake in this case.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
coming back to this, Prachi, you've been a woman who's been juggling so many roles, financial analyst, cake person, and now it's not enough for you. Now you've taken it to the next level. You're the head judge for Cakeology India, right?
Yes.
And then you also are the jury member for India Cake Awards.
Yeah, the head of jury.
Yes, the head of jury. Wow. And if I'm not mistaken, You're also the advisory member of our Indian Cake for the Indian Cake Awards.
Yeah, that's true.
So tell me a little about that. I mean, how did that happen?
I think I feel immensely honored and humbled with the kind of support that I have received from the industry and their trust in my artistic ability and my ability as a person. Because judging itself is a very harsh terms, but I don't see it that way. I always see it something that you go there, you put your art in front of the judges, and they're there to guide you,
Correct.
give you good feedback, positive feedback, so that you can come back becoming a better version of the artist that you are. Because I've been on the other side of the table, I know what it takes to put yourself right up there competing amongst hundreds of other artists. You are putting so much of effort and energy. So because I've faced all of that, I understand what it takes. So I consider myself to be very lucky that people have that trust in me. They trust my abilities. And so I started my journey as a judge with Cakeology, which is India's biggest cake event, since 2015. So I got promoted to be the head judge in the year 2023.
Okay.
So that itself is a huge responsibility, and I take, like I said, I consider myself to be quite lucky that people have that trust in me. And Indian Cake Awards is again the first platform for the Indian cake artist, who deserve recognition, who deserves to get that visibility.
Yeah.
So I'm also the head of the jury over there and also their advisory board member. I got promoted to these roles this very year.
Wow.
And I also want to add that sitting here in Pune Times Mirror and Civic Mirror office also gives me a lot of pleasure. And it's again something that I'm extremely proud of, that I'm also advisory board member for the Pune Times Mirror and Civic Mirror. And I really cherish this beautiful relationship that I have here.
Well, we cherish having you with us. Prachi, you're speaking about feedback to us.
Yeah.
What kind of feedback did you get from the family?
It's quite a balance, I should say. And I like that balance because I have a son who's 12 years old. He is absolutely head over heels with whatever his mama is doing at work. He is my biggest ever cheerleader. Then is my husband, who again is, of course, my cheerleader, but he balances out, the being a good critic, I would say. And that is extremely important because, it gives you a good balance of understanding that there's somebody who can tell you that, okay, fine, you can still improve here. So, and then, of course, my parents, my in-laws, they're extremely supportive. Everything and anything that I do under the sun, they just love it.
Wow.
So I'm touch wood, I'm quite blessed. Touch wood, yes.
What do you remember your first cake success? What was that like?
That's a lovely question, actually, because I remember it clearly. Because like I was telling you, as a child, I used to be fascinated with the cakes, and that started when I used to read books of Enid Blyton and all the enchanted wood and fairies and everything. So as a 10-year-old, I used to ask my mother that why can't I have a castle and a fairy or stuff like that on my cake, and she used to tell me this is supposed to be in the storybooks and not on a cake. So then, cut to 2013, when I was in this career, I baked a cake. It was an order, and the girl came with her mother to collect the cake, the birthday girl. So it was a castle, it was princess and everything. And the moment she walked in, I opened the box, and the cake was in front of her. I still remember the spark in her eyes, and she was smiling ear to ear, and that love, that joy. I mean, I went back to my childhood. I was like, I can just see myself in that little child. So that is a very special memory, and it stays with me. Like I said, the moment you asked, this is the first memory that came to my mind.
Well, what a cake disaster.
There've been many, many, but I think it also gives you room for improvement and understanding your own abilities as an artist, because you can start somewhere in your head that you want the design to be a certain way, but sometimes it just takes its own path and it transforms into something beautiful. Sometimes not so beautiful, but still, carries its own path in a very organic way. And I like it being an artist. So every disaster can be beautiful, may not be what you imagine, but definitely
Yeah.
something beautiful.
Correct. You know, you're talking. It's funny you're talking about journey. You're talking about journey as an artist. Where does where do you go from here?
I think I find myself happily placed as a student and a learner for life. I see things I in a way that I seek inspiration and I look at things like that. And if you consider yourself to be a learner who's learning every day, who's becoming a better version of the artist that you are every single day, I think it motivates me.
I think so. I think so too. And I think when you're having fun, no, it's never going to be work.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. My mentor used to say that to me that, if you're working, like if you're working on something that you're passionate, you're not really working any day
That's
of your
true.
life.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I agree. I completely endorse that opinion. You know, Prachi, speaking of travel, actually, the reason I was asking you this is because Little Bird tells me that you are now on your way to Australia, correct?
Yeah.
Tell me a little about that.
So yes, the announcement happened 2 days back, and I am just so honored and privileged that I was selected from the Indian cake industry to represent as their Indian ambassador in Australia. So the cake show is international cake show in Australia, and it is the biggest cake show. It is was one of the biggest cake shows, and I am just so honored and humbled that I was chosen to be an Indian ambassador and a senior judge.
What an
So
honor.
thank you. Yes, it is an absolute honor, and to have that trust and responsibility placed on me because they find your art capable enough to be portrayed in such a way. And it's also something I take responsibility on behalf of the Indian cake industry, because all the ambassadors from other countries, be it Tokyo, South Africa, Taiwan, China, they are also serving as a bridge between their own respective country and Australia. So it's like the moment this was announced, a lot of Indian artists messaged me saying that, ma'am, how can we be a part of this show?
Wow.
So I feel very honored that this is like a cultural collaboration sort of a thing that and also uh, it is something that for the growth of any industry, I think it's so essential that artists from different parts of the world coming together, celebrating their own heritage and cultural storytelling.
Right. You know, so Brisbane calling, huh? Altogether. So, but Prachi, tell me one thing. I've been always wondering about this that, you have literally set the bar so high. Okay. So, what would you tell a budding cake expert or budding baker coming up? What would you tell her or him?
See, if you ask me, I never planned my journey from day one. I was just so focused on learning and exploring. I was taking every single day as a reason to look forward to learning and exploring this art form in the best possible way. There are days when you go nowhere. That's all right. It's okay. You have to give yourself that time and a breather, that it's okay. Not everything blooms every year, like it is said. So give yourself time, but at the same time, don't lose focus, your hard work and determination. If you remain focused, if you start understanding what your strengths are, first of all, it's essential that you thoroughly understand the foundation of any, not only baking or cake artistry, anything that you are exploring is what I feel.
agree.
Work on your foundations beautifully, understand the in and out of it, and then once you do that, you will start exploring your own strengths in that particular medium. So once you know the strength that you have, work on it, be consistent, do that extra hard work. If you keep on doing that, then there is no looking back and you are going to achieve what you are aiming for. But instead of aiming for success, aim for learning and aim for, dedicating yourself as an artist to be honest to your craft.
Yeah.
Is what I feel, and then it will lead you to beautiful places.
Piece of cake. Thank you, Prachi. That was really lovely talking to you. I can't wait to see you again when you come back with your next milestone. May the power be with you. May you have your cake and the bakery too. Hey, she actually has that right now. So you take care of yourself, my friend, and I shall catch up with you soon. Thank you, people, for watching us. Corina B. Manu saying bye. Prachi, Say bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Karina. It was lovely chatting you here and talking about all lovely stuff, especially cake. So thank you, and I look forward to sitting with you again very soon.
Yeah, it'll be a cakewalk, love. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.